Rally of Southland.
In the middle of the road, hell's no place for sleeping in a world beyond control. Caught in the headlights, coming after you. When I woke up this morning, I had to do what I gotta do. Ask me to help them.
The New Zealand Rally Championships continued its drive south with round number 4 at Invercargill, the Ascot Park Rally of Southland. Number 1 seed and third round winner overall was Subaru driver Joe McAndrew.
Yeah, I'd say Jeff Argyle's definitely won there, and Brian Stokes, he was playing pretty good in the last part of Dunedin as well. So, yeah, there's still a few there, and you get the Hawkswoods and that can put some really good stage times together, so if you can stay there long enough, we'll be putting some good battles in there.
After finishing 6th overall at Otago, Brian Stokes was looking for improvement and was one of the favourites for Group A honours.
The short format is going to be just the one that goes the fastest and doesn't have any problems, you know, and everyone's cars are so good now that it's probably just, you know, you've just got to go flat out and hope you get there.
Fast, spectacular, but inconsistent could have been the tag used to describe Andrew Hawkswood.
Being on number 10 on the road, I think it's going to cut up a little bit, so, you know, it might be a little bit rough, but I'm not too sure yet. But after last week's crash, I just wanted to sort of get back into it a bit first and see how we go from there.
Another wanting to get back into it was Auckland's Group N pilot, Marty Rostenberg.
I think it's going to be really good. It's going to take away some of the power advantage that the Group A cars have got, and hopefully it'll mean us guys in the Group N will get closer to them.
Pushing him hard all the way, Hamilton's Ross Meekings in the NZ Mitsubishi Evo 3.
I think really now that we've sort of got an idea of what sprint rallying is all about, there's basically just no room to relax, and you've got to go hard right out of the blocks and pretty much try and get a jump on the rest of them on the first and second stages. But I guess everybody's thinking the same thing, so who knows? It'll be all on.
Cold winds but clear skies greeted competitors at the start ramp in downtown Invercargill. First away, the Fleet-Link Subaru of Joe McAndrew. 6 stages make up the first heat of the Rally of Southland, interesting one being stage 5, the Pine Bush stage, nearly 50 kilometres long. Joe McAndrew was quickly into his work, setting the fastest time on the opening Waikana stage and then repeating the dose on stage 2. Jeff Argyle was slowed on 1 when a rock jammed in his driveline, 8th quickest, 21 seconds behind McAndrew. Marty Rostenberg, who we ride with here, continued his battle with Group N nemesis Chris West. The South Islander getting the better of Rostenberg by just 2 seconds in stage 1 and 7 seconds in 2.
Straight right after.
Rostenberg, who had mechanical problems in Otago, was back to his best in his revitalised Mitsubishi. Rostenberg second in Group N, but continuously losing time to Timaru's Chris West. Ross Meekings, seen here helping the Southern Council with a bit of roadside clearing, was his normal spectacular self, 4th in Group N after stage 2. Living up to their deserved pre-race favouritism were Brian Stokes and Gary Cowan, only 2 seconds down on McAndrew through stage 1, but losing 30 seconds on 2. Putting his previous bad luck behind him, Timaru's Chris West was absolutely flying, easily leading Group N and closing on the leaders going into stage 2. With the cars in front of them sweeping the road, starting 10th was just the tonic for Auckland's Andrew Hawkswood and Gary Payne. We ride with the Sonic Automotive driving sound Lancer through the Southern Tussock. You have a look there, you'll see on the lap of Gary Payne, the co-driver with Andrew Hawkswood, no pace notes in the New Zealand Championships, just a route book to tell the guys what's coming up. The system was working perfectly for Hawkswood. By the end of stage 2, they were 5th overall. A different perspective now. We ride once again with Marty Rostenberg and Roger Oakley in the Collier's Jardine Mobil 1 Mitsubishi Lancer here in the closing stages of Special Stage 2. Now, if you have a look closely on Rossenberg's car, you'll notice just above the gear lever there, a little light coming on the stacked dash. Now, that's telling them they've got a problem with the engine, and they'll be monitoring that very closely as they come to the final stage. In fact, you'll see Marty Rossenberg decide to slip the car into neutral and to save the Mitsubishi engine as they get closer to the stage finish. So bad news for the Aucklander. It looks like his mechanical woes have come to haunt him again. So you see the light coming on there, and Rossenberg slips the car into neutral, and they coast the final 500 metres through to the finish. So bad luck indeed for the Aucklanders. It looks like they've got some major problems.
That felt pretty good. We had our stacked dash come on though, warning us that we've got some high oil temperatures, so we'll get the boys to have a look at that at the next service, and hopefully everything's okay.
So we go to the results after stage 2. Joe McAndrew leads the rally, 34 seconds back. Chris West, second overall, tied with Jeff Argyle. On to stage 3, and the Fleet-Link Subaru pairing of Joe McAndrew and Christopher Boyle were looking to repeat the dose of the 2 previous stages. This they did, but not as convincingly as previously, winning the stage by the barest of margins, just 1 second to Jeff Argyle. Argyle and Locke were back to their best after earlier problems.
One, we had some sort of rock jammed in the drive shaft in the first stage. Made very bad noises at the end and vibrating all up through the centre, so we had to just crawl out, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll be a little bit closer in there than what we were in the first one.
Consistently in the top 5 stage times, the Case IH Ford Escort Cosworth of Brian Stokes, here using all the road and then a bit more. Mounting another attack toward the front, Hawkswood and Payne. 5th and 3, they would win stage 4 outright. We ride once again in the Sonic Automotive Mitsubishi Lancer. Andrew Hawkswood at the wheel, Gary Payne sitting so composed alongside him. The relaxed style, but boy, it defies the speed that these guys were going. Second equal with Jeff Argyle. Chris West, first in Group N, was matching the time set by the faster Group A cars. Stanmore Bay's Todd Borden and Jeff Grove, second in Group N in their Mitsubishi Lancer. 3/4 the way through the day, and the NZ Evo 3 of Ross Meekings and Alan Glenn, third in the Group N class. And so to the result boards. After stage 4, Joe McAndrew, a 39-second lead over Jeff Argyle in Group A. Chris West still led Group N, and Todd Borden was second. Another north-south battle loomed in Formula 2. Justin Julian and David Black trading blows in places all day. And going into 5, Julian had a slim lead.
It means to be fast public road, but it's actually quite muddy and puggy and a lot of wheel spin, so I'm going to change tyres now, try a different brand.
Fully restored after his crash in Otago, David Black's Nissan was revelling in the conditions.
Yeah, car's going all right. We've done a few changes to it and it's handling a little bit differently, but I think better, but we've just got to get used to it a bit now. So, yeah, there's a long way to go yet, isn't there? Not much today, but tomorrow's...
Auckland evergreen Dave Strong, a little off the pace of Julian, but still third in F2 in his Daihatsu Charade. Christchurch brothers Dean and Brent Buist led the Bolano Cup class in their More FM Suzuki.
I'm great now. Oh, that was good. No, we sort of, Stewie was 1 second the first stage, and then we tied, and then we took 6 in that one, 4 in that one. So, but, you know, hey, that won't last for long with Stewie. He'll be up there doing it next time.
The Stewie that Dean Buist referred to was Rangiora's Stu Warren, just seconds behind coming to the end of the first day.
The roads are quite soft underneath and it feels so slow, but it's just so different to Dunedin. But Dean's about 5 in front of us going into this one, I think. So.
An exciting new car boasting factory support from both here and France was the red number 25, the Citroën Saxo.
Yeah, we've got a fantastic deal from Citroën New Zealand. They're supporting us really well, and Citroën France have given us a little bit of a help as well. It's really great. Oh, they've got a really good history overseas in Europe. They're extremely fast over there and competitive, and it's something different, and the different is good for me from promotional reasons. We haven't had to put any parts into the car yet at all. Maintenance is just zilch at the moment. It's really good. The handling is probably the best part of the car. The Europeans put a lot of effort and time into development of the car, and it's super to drive. Yeah, we've got a neat team of people that have put a lot of effort into the car and building the car, and all the nights in the shed working on the car has been really good. Eventually our dream is the kit car, and it'll be really fun to do that. 200 horsepower in a little car like this would be a 6-speed gearbox. Be a potent little machine.
One word describes stage 5.
That was fast, eh? A lot different in the daytime than it is in the night time when you can see the roads so much ahead. Never been so much tapped out in 6th gear for quite a long time. Yeah, no, I've been going pretty good and pretty steady, and yeah, the Fleetling Impreza is going really good.
Off the pace a little, Jeff Argyle. The car now sounding off song.
No, we've lost one cylinder. Right from the start line, we've done the whole thing on 3 cylinders, so we think we might have done a piston or something, so we'll see if we can get to the end and see what we can do overnight.
Absolutely loving the fast conditions was Brian Stokes.
Oh, gee, I've never been so fast. Yeah, it's a long time since we've gone that far in 6th gear. Yeah, it was good though. Yeah, enjoyed that.
We ride once again with the Auckland pairing Andrew Hawkswood, Gary Payne, his co-driver. How fast was stage 5? It was just on 48 kilometres long. They covered it in about 20 minutes. That is 120 kilometre an hour average, and some of these cars were reaching speeds well in excess of 180 kilometres an hour. So it was very fast indeed. The drivers absolutely loved it. As fast as the Mitsubishi was going, they were still 40 seconds adrift of the pace of Joe McAndrew. Another one revelling in the open spaces and making strides up the leaderboard was Bruce Herbert, second in stage 5, 20 seconds behind McAndrew. Chris West, Mitsubishi, still led Group N. How would he describe stage 5?
Fast, very, very fast. Yeah, no, we didn't have too bad a run. A wee bit slower than some of the guys, but no, not too bad. Quite happy anyway.
Second in Group N, Todd Borden and Jeff Grove. Chasing hard as always, third in Group N, but Ross Meekings had problems of his own.
Bit of high drama in there. We were actually Jeff must have a problem. We caught him and just come up to an intersection. I thought he pulled off to let us pass, and he actually went around to the left, and we went straight through the intersection. Had to do the big U-ey down the road about 200 metres past. Must have lost a good 15-20 seconds. It was, and it took us another sort of 5 or 6 Ks, maybe more, to catch him up again.
The final stage of Heat 1 was at the Teretonga Raceway. Joe McAndrew, fastest again, adding to his already growing tarmac reputation. Chris West happy to lead Group N at the end of the day, and the car in one piece. We ride once again with Andrew Hawkswood and Gary Payne. Seen here in a little bit of bother coming through the right-hander. Out onto the grass they go. A little bit of trouble, but I tell you what, the small crowds absolutely love their go-for-it style. So at the end of the day, Joe McAndrew led the rally by 32 seconds from Brian Stokes. But with 10 DNFs, the Ascot Park Rally was a race of attrition in Heat 1.
Stay with us on the Motorsport Show as the Rally of Southland continues. Some heavy showers adding to the challenges posed by the Rally of Southland.
Catch the day's World Cup action tonight, followed live by the
The kart Detroit Grand Prix was raced at the tight Belle Isle Road Circuit, race 8 of the 19-race series. Of Southland.
The weather had taken a turn for the worst overnight, and Sunday dawned with more of the same. Freezing cold wind and driving rain. First away in the early morning gloom was Joe McAndrew in his Fleet-Link Subaru Impreza.
There's definitely had a lot of rain last night. I was a bit awake during it. The old thunderstorms are pretty loud, so there must have been a fair bit of rain. See what these roads are like, really. We're going to be the first one to find out. You know, maybe a bit slushy by the sounds of the weather here.
Hamilton's Ross Meekings, another caught out by the atrocious conditions and poor visibility. Looks like a very early start. It is actually 8:30 in the morning.
It's quite incredibly dark here in the forest this morning. I think if we had known what this was going to be like and how sad the weather was going to turn overnight, I guess we should have probably put the spotlights on last night. However, we're all in the same boat. We did a resting little morning's exercise.
First in Group N in Heat 1, Chris West was looking for a positive start to Heat 2.
But yeah, this stage here obviously will be slippery. Just looking at the you know, the paddocks and everything coming down the road, it was it was pretty wet.
Making the most of his late start time, he was the first to see the light. Lewis Scott and Jane Black sent fastest time on stage 7. And on to stage 8, on board with Brian Stokes, the 13.3 kilometre Longwood stage, the beginning of Stokes' troubles. The conditions were atrocious, but they couldn't keep away the die-hard fans. We ride once again with Brian Stokes in stage 9. This spin and the one previously in 8 causing damage to the exhaust system, which would contribute to turbo problems and force his retirement by the end of the stage. So if we go to the result boards after stage 9, Joe McAndrew still leads the rally, 7 seconds adrift. Chris West and Ross Meekings together in a Group N car, so they're really setting a fast pace. In the ex-Jeff Argyle Nissan Pulsar is Wellington's Deborah Kibble.
I'm enjoying today, actually. The first stage was great. I quite like the forest stages. So I think it's the changing surfaces and the narrowness of it, I'm not too sure. I don't mind the wet. We're running new tyres today, so I think that makes all the difference. I'm still learning, so I really haven't got a favourite condition yet. So. But yeah, I wouldn't say I talk too much to myself. Certainly Jamie, my husband / co-driver, is talking a lot in the passenger seat. Probably more than any other co-driver, simply because husband and wife, we own the car. Yeah, it does, because he knows when I'm going off. All our money goes into the car and the mortgage. Which we don't mind doing. Otherwise, what do? You go overseas, you have children, which is in the near future. So having fun is the key, I think, most definitely. And then if the seriousness comes later on, we'll see how we go.
After a spin in stage 7, Joe McAndrew was back up the leaderboard, and going into stage 10 was 12 seconds up on second, the sensational Chris West. The Subaru all-wheel drive coming into its own in the slippery conditions.
No, it was pretty good. Yeah, a little bit more grip on that one. We sort of changed our tyres in there, and yeah, it felt like we got a little bit more grip and a bit more drive. Yeah, still very slippery in there, and yeah, it looks like it's causing a bit of trouble back in the field. But yeah, we're still pretty happy where we are. The Fleet-Link Impreza's in good condition, and we'll try and get it home now.
Also trying to get home, Palmerston North's Bruce Herbert and Rob Ryan. Second quickest in 10, the Mitsubishi Lancer was now 4th and 2nd in Group A. Puncture in stage 9 slowed the charge of Andrew Hawkswood and dropped him down to 7th overall, losing valuable time and 4 positions. With the demise of Bruce Herbert through mechanical troubles, Hawkswood was back in 2nd in Group A after stage 10. Another in the grip of mechanical woes was Brian Green in his Escort World Rally car. Having ripped the exhaust off the car in stage 8, they were now being gassed by the almost toxic fumes inside the car. When Todd Borden went out on 8, you would have thought Chris West could ease off. Wrong. He continued to drive very quickly, setting 2nd fastest time on stage 10, 5 seconds behind leader McAndrew. He needed to drive quickly because right on his heels, only 3 seconds down, was Ross Meekings. We go back on board, this time with Ross Meekings in the NZ Lancer. The long-time Toyota stalwart making an easy transition to the Mitsubishi and immediately seeing good results. Second in Group N with 2 stages to go. A spectacular use all the road style of Meekings, an absolute joy to watch. Fast, consistent, safe driving was paying big dividends for the NZ Mitsubishi. The wet conditions playing into the hands of the lesser powered Group N cars as they powered their way up the leaderboard.
We sort of had a bit of a feel for the stage, and I think we went into this one second equal with Chris this time, and it's not the last stage of this rally, but we got to wait and see what sort of time he does before we know whether we've actually done a good job or not.
With the loss of the more fancied Group N competitors, Waiuku's Stumpy Holmes was coming into his own. The long-time Subaru pilot, partnered by Daryl Judd, was finally getting the results his efforts deserved.
I'm definitely trying hard. No, these roads today are definitely suiting this car. Power-wise, no good, but no, I'm really enjoying it, as you can see.
So we have a look at the leaderboard with 2 stages remaining. Joe McAndrew still leads the rally. 12 seconds adrift, Chris West leading Group N, and 6 seconds back of West, it is Ross Meekings. A spin in 11 cost McAndrew valuable time and the stage win, losing by 5 seconds to Chris West. But now on 12, it's business as usual. He wins easily. 34 seconds up on second place, Ross Meekings, who finishes the stage with no breaks. So Joe McAndrew makes it 3 out of 3 at Invercargill, his combined score giving him the overall win in Southland and the championship lead. Andrew Hawkswood soldiers on with oil covering the inside and outside of the car from a split gearbox. His efforts are all in vain as he is excluded from the rally with a touring violation. Top 5 finish, second in Group N in Leg 2 for Rotorua's Jeff Ray, enough to clinch this round of the Rally New Zealand Challenge. More than happy with their Heat 2 results, second overall, just over a minute behind Joe McAndrew, and first in Group N for Ross Meekings and co-driver Alan Glenn. We take in the final stages of the rally from the driver's view, once again courtesy of the NZ Mitsubishi and Ross Meekings. The long fast straights combined with the very tight corners make the Pebbly Hills Stage 12 memorable for driver and spectator alike, and it also lets the powerful Group A cars stretch their legs. Tenth in the first heat, fourth in this the second for Stumpy Holmes and the B&T Jigsaw Clothing Group N Impreza. Also squeaking into the top 10 and doing enough to win the round of the South Island Scholarship, Dave Ridden and Chris Nolan from Canterbury. The last stage blues must have been penned for Chris West, because 4Ks into stage 12, disaster.
We opened a good lead up on Ross and thought we'd just drive through the stage, and unfortunately I was relaxed a wee bit too much, and it just caught me out. I stood wide and actually I just dropped into the ditch here, and unfortunately we couldn't get back out.
Formula 2 threw up a surprise winner in Jason West, the youngster from Dunedin taking advantage of the engine blow of Justin Julian. Second in Formula 2 was Wellington's David Black in his Nissan Almera GTI. Christchurch brothers Dean and Brent Bewis took the honours in the Bolano Cup competition and their More FM Suzuki. With punctures slowing Canterbury's Stu Warren, it was left to Auckland's Grant Liston to split the Southern's dominance with a fine second place. So we go to the overall results of the Southland Rally. In Group A, Joe McAndrew takes the win from Brian Green and Brian Stokes in third place. Meanwhile, in Group N, Ross Meekings takes the win from Stumpy Holmes and Chris West. But the rally really belonged to Joe McAndrew.
I'm pretty happy with the whole rally, really. Today was really tricky. Looks like it poured out a lot of people with different lots of things, you know. But today's conditions are pretty atrocious in the beginning, and yeah, it's good to finish in a nice bit of weather.
Great performance that by Joe McAndrew with the wins on both days in Southland. McAndrew has gone from 5th to 1st and is well clear of previous leader Jeff Argyle. It's very tight for second. Argyle, Stokes and me.